A length of wire has a constant current passing through it at all temperatures. At 300 Kelvin, the voltage across the wire is 10 volts. Determine the voltage across the wire if the temperature decreases 40 Kelvin. For this wire, alpha equals 0.005 inverse Kelvin at 300 Kelvin. So we are dealing with a temperature-dependent resistor here. The wire is a resistor, and its resistance depends on temperature. But we know that Ohm's law still applies. And additionally, we know the current is constant. So I know that the initial current is going to equal the final current. The initial being the current at 300 Kelvin, the final current being the current at 260 Kelvin. And I know from Ohm's law that I can solve for the current. V over R is going to equal the current. So I can substitute that in. And I'm interested in solving for the final voltage. So that's going to be the final resistance times the initial voltage over the initial resistance. That's going to equal the final voltage. So now I can go ahead and put in our big ugly formula for resistance, which remember is this. So if I do that here, RF is going to be in this, I put R naught, okay. And let's see, that's 1 plus alpha, I'll put that value in later, E minus. Now my T naught, I am told alpha at this temperature. This is my T naught, okay. Alpha is given to me for this temperature, that's my T naught. So I'll just go ahead and put that in as 300. And that's important to take note of because this initial resistance happens at 300 Kelvin. So that must be R naught. My initial resistance is actually just R naught. Okay, so continuing on, so the R naughts are going to cancel. Let's go ahead and put in the values. So I'm just going to write these on the other side. So this is going to be 1 plus alpha is 0.005. Now, I put in T minus 30, but I already know what it's going to end up being. They didn't tell me the final temperature, but they tell me the temperature decreases by 40 Kelvin. So I'm going to change that to negative 40. So what I did here, this T minus 300 just became negative 40 because I know that my temperature decreases by 40 Kelvin. The initial voltage is 10 volts. And there's nothing to divide it by, so this is all just divided by 1. So my final voltage, I just plug these values in to my calculator. And I get 8 volts. And so that is my answer.